give me a minute. All right. Thank you both for sharing. That is not an easy thing to do. Let's give them another round of applause. Thank you both. I promise not to be too long-winded, as I think they handled it pretty well, but I do want to take just a minute to add a little bit. Over the past year, I have been so proud of our youth group. Here at Holy Cross, we have built an environment where our students feel safe and just deeply cared for. And I've been delighted to see how closely they've bonded with each other. However, one thing that I've really worried about is how much we've succeeded in sharing the message of Christ to them. And I've been in ministry long enough to know you can spiral forever worrying too much, but with it being such important work, it's something that's definitely been on my mind. And I know that sometimes we plant seeds that we don't get to see for a while, but it's definitely something that we've been striving to make sure that we are connecting them to this important message of Jesus Christ. And with all that being said, our week at Revive was a time that I will remember for decades to come. I watched them embrace moments of worship with an intensity and a sincerity that was truly inspiring. They formed bonds of friendships and just became spiritual kinships, or that became spiritual kinships. Their discussions were filled with insight and questions that just showed their deepening understanding and connection with God. Their laughter, tears, and prayers shared among them were evidence of God's transformative work. These experiences not only strengthened their faith, but it also was this opportunity to reignite my own passion for ministry and just affirm the importance of the moments that we're sharing and shaping in their spiritual journeys. So as I was reading through the scriptures for today, trying to figure out how I was going to tie one of them in to Youth Sunday, the psalm reading from today really caught my attention, because today's reading from Psalm 30 is just this profound reminder of God's transformative love and mercy. The psalm, which is attributed to King David, takes us on a journey from despair to deliverance and from sorrow to just uncontainable joy. And it speaks to the heart of our faith and the reality of our human experience. And the reason it grabbed me is because it's such a similar way to how I see our students experience faith. I see them in David's way that he had of just laying himself emotionally bare before God. I see them wrestling with things that don't make sense. I see them questioning and struggling and at times feeling overwhelmed by the challenges they face. But like David, they cry out in their moments of need, and God meets them in those moments with love, mercy, and transformative power. I know in my experience growing up in the church, one thing that I really had to wrestle with as I got older was the very surface level platitudes that I was given as a teenager when bad things happened. A lot of you have heard me share my story. I lost my dad as a teenager, and the leadership around me at church was trying their best, and in retrospect, I can see that. But at the time, there was lots of these surface level platitudes of like, everything's gonna be okay, and everything happens for a reason, and which is my least favorite phrase, by the way. And it's all part of God's plan. And that never felt right and never sat right. And that was something I had to wrestle with in my faith as I got older. And this generation of students, this generation that's coming up, they are not satisfied with those surface level platitudes that have often been heard in the church. These kids are struggling with all sorts of things that there's just no easy answer to. At the very least, this is a generation that had to grow up going through the uncertainty that was COVID. I mean, they know that life's not always going to be just this easy joyride. But even more than that, our students are struggling with big, heavy things in their life that there's no easy answer to. And they're not taking the platitudes. And it's beautiful to see them wrestling through these experiences with God that we often got to see David do in the Psalms. And at camp, I got to see through these powerful worship sessions and the sense of community that they found, they experienced like a lifting up in that communal worship. They got to encounter a living God who heard their cries and responded with love and restoration. If there's one thing that I hope I can communicate and that you get to see in our students, it's to be comfortable with coming to God with our big, angry, sad emotions. It's something that I think our teenagers are very comfortable with, and as I think we lose in adulthood sometimes. We are the children of a big God who created us with all of our big feelings and our big fears and our big emotions and sorrow. And so as we move forward today, I hope that stays with you, that we have a big God who can handle all of our big messy selves. So will you pray with me? Dear Lord, thank you for this place. Thank you for this community that we have, these people that uplift and surround our students. Thank you for our students and for this next generation that we have, God. This generation that is connecting with you in all the ways, big and small. I pray that as a community, we will lift each other up and come beside each other and just lock arms in those times of grief, in those times of joy and sadness and big feelings, and that we will come together to you, God, with the support of each other as a community, knowing that we will find peace in you and in each other. In your name, amen.